Hello, this is how
Okay, so
to
first
print
you
out
want
the
to
PDF
print the
patterns
pattern.
from my
It's really
Etsy
important
shop.
to use Adobe Acrobat
It's
Reader.
recommended,
There is a
and honestly,
free
you need
version.
Adobe Acrobat
Download
Reader,
that
which is
so that
the
way
free
the
PDF
pattern
viewer
can be
if you
printed
don't already
accurately.
have Adobe Acrobat.
here's a
This way
Google
you can be
search,
sure when you print
free
out the
PDF
file, it's not going to
viewer
get
from Adobe
resized,
Acrobat.
because I know if you double click the file, it might open it in your internet viewing window and you can print from here, but a lot of the times when people print from
Do not
their
print from
internet
your browser. I know if you
viewer,
download the PDF file and double
the file
click
gets
it, it'll most likely
resized. So
open
it's
in a
best to
tab
just
in
download
Chrome
Adobe
or
Acrobat
Safari.
Reader, the free PDF
But
viewer,
when you print
if
from
you
that,
do not already have Adobe Acrobat.
It's oftentimes resizes the
And
pages
then I'm gonna go
to
File,
fit inside
Open,
the margins.
and I have my clown
this
pattern
file
already
was
downloaded.
designed to
Okay,
fit
so
a more
here we
exact
go.
way,
So
not
if you
to be
notice
resized by your printer.
on my PDF
Also, if you
patterns,
notice,
the lines go
the
all the way
pattern
to
lines
the
go
edge.
all the way to the
Now, when
end
you print
of
this
each
out, your
page.
printer is going to
But
have
your
margins.
printer
So your printer
can't
will
print to
not
the end.
print this
So your
line
printer
to
does
the
have
edge,
margins.
but that
so
line
even though your printer
still
is not
exists.
printing
And I
those
do this
lines,
on
they're
purpose
still
because
there.
we print this out all the
We
time
do this
in my
on purpose.
classroom,
I'm a
and
teacher
it's so much easier for
for
students
sewing
to
classes,
just
and
butt
my students
two
are printing out
pages
patterns all the time,
together
and it's just
tape it
easier
together.
to
They
butt them
don't
up
have
and
to
tape them
worry
together.
about overlapping
I've seen
the
so many students
paper
struggle trying
and
to
lining
cut
up
out
lines.
patterns and
They
cut off
just
margins,
match
and
the
it's a
raw
lot of work.
edges
And
of the
so this
paper
is
and
way
tape it
faster to
together.
just line up the
And
edges.
yeah, they're not going
I
to
know those
see
lines
the
aren't going
lines
to
printed.
print,
It is
but
going to
they're
be
still
white.
there.
But as long as you
So
match
really
up
just
the
line up the
paper,
edges of the
you can
paper.
get a
You
pencil
can hand
and
draw
draw the line
part
that's not printed.
not
But
printing.
they do
It's
connect.
a much
So
easier way to print. So
it is
again,
a
when
little
you
bit
print
different
it,
than
make
other
sure
PDF patterns that you can get on Etsy, but
do not
honestly,
scale
it's
it.
so much
Do
faster
not
and
click
easier
fit to page.
tape
Just
together.
print actual size.
Even
And
though
unfortunately,
you're not
because
see this
printers
little
have
line,
margins, they're not going to print the very edge.
So just notice these
but
lines
just
go all the way to
line
the edge
up
of the
the edges of the
paper,
paper, tape
and
it
your
together,
printer cannot
and just hand draw the
print to
part
the edge
that
because it needs to feed
didn't
it
get printed.
Okay, so anyways, I'm in Adobe Acrobat, and now I can go File, Print, and then
So in the window to print, and look, it defaults to fit to page. No, I worked so hard to draft this pattern. So make sure you check
the pattern maker
actual
here worked
size.
really hard
So it's gonna print
to get the right
exactly
size. So have your
how it's
printer
meant to be
print actual
drafted.
size.
It's
Is
not
another
gonna
common
shrink
mistake
everything and
is that
resize it.
people will print it to a different
This one's printing letters, so if you bought the letter version, make sure you're printing on
right
letter.
Now, this is
Don't
letter
let the computer
paper,
choose for
which
you.
is what I
Sometimes
have,
it just
8.5
will
by
auto
11
pick
inches,
whatever paper. Just
and all I
make
have to
sure
do is
it is
print.
letter
Now, this
size
is
paper,
56
8.5 by
pages,
11
so
inches.
it's an awful lot. So go ahead and say print,
size.
and
Should
then
be
go ahead
checked
and grab
and
it from the
This
printer.
is 56 pages. It's a lot. Here's a video from another pattern. This is where I'm showing you where I just line up the edges and tape them. No overlap. As you can see, you know, the printer did not print those lines that go all the way to the edge, but they're still there. So you can just hand draw and connect them. They still exist. They just didn't get printed because most printers have margins. Okay, once you get all your pattern pieces cut out, the first step is to take the two front pieces and sew that front rise. So it's a long center front and then under the little crotch area. So it's called the rise seam. So here I have it pinned together. I'm going to take it to the sewing machine, and there you go. I sewed it together. And then every single seam, I press open my seam allowances. So you're not going to see this in the video for the rest, but just assume anytime you sew two pieces of fabric, go ahead, take it to the iron, give it a nice press. It'll just make it look crisp and sharp. Okay. So I'm going to do the same to the two back pieces. So that back rise together, center back and rise, that little J shape. So now you have your front and back. Now we're going to size up some elastic. I like to just put it around my wrist to feel like what's comfortable. So that's how I do it, and I cut it. Looks like mine was about 10 inches, but we're all different and have different opinions. And then I'm going to hem the sleeves on the raw edge. So for this one, I'm just going to roll it over twice and give it a top stitch. Maybe you have a serger, you can serge it. If you have binding, you could bind the edge. Really, there's lots of different ways to hem it. After I hem it, then I'm going to stretch my elastic and sew my elastic while it's being stretched out. So I'm stretching it the length of the sleeve. And as you can see there, obviously the elastic comes back to its actual size and scrunches up my cuffs. Do the same to the other sleeve. Now we're going to pin the sleeve to the front armhole. And we're going to go ahead, pin that, and then we're going to sew it. There it is, sewn together. And that's it, flipped out. Now we're going to pin that same sleeve, but to the back armhole. Okay, pinning it and sew it as well. Okay, we have one sleeve attached to the front and back. So now we want to get our other sleeve and do the same. Sew it to the front, pinning first, then sewing, and sew it then to the back. Here we go, I'm pinning it to the back. And it's sewn together, great. So now we're going to create a casing around the neckline and we're going to put elastic inside of it. This is how you're going to get in and out of the garment. A lot of people ask, is there a zipper? No, it's just a wide neckline. So I'm just folding it over the raw edge and then I fold it over again. You want to make it thick enough for your elastic. And I'm just going to edge stitch it all the way around. And then I will insert my elastic inside the casing that I'm making here. Okay, so I went ahead and I sewed the casing. It's a full circle all the way around. And then I have my elastic piece. Again, you can measure this yourself. Just kind of what's comfortable around your neck. Make sure it stretches enough to get your whole body through. And yeah, I'm going to insert my elastic inside the casing. So I like to use a safety pin. So I'll take a safety pin and clip it on to my elastic, and then I feed my safety pin through the casing that I made. Once I get it all the way through, I take the two ends, the front and back end, and I overlap them and I stitch them together. I like to do a little zigzag stitch. I go forward and backwards. Make sure it's in there real good. There it is. And then I just pull my casing so that my elastic's like evenly spread throughout of it. You can go back in and top stitch that little opening, but you really don't need to. It's not gonna come undone. Next step, let's sew the underarm and the side seam at the same time. So back to our sleeve, the underarm seam, and then go around the armpit area all the way down the side seam, down to the bottom opening. So you can see I have it pinned here, and then we'll do the same to the other side. Now here, I forgot to tell you guys, before you sew the inner leg seams, go ahead and put in your elastic at the feet. So, and then the last step would be to sew the inner leg.